that is used to capacity. It's actually, the skate park is a little too small because it was designed in the early days of skating when the skaters weren't doing such fancy things, and also we just allowed BMX bikes to be there as well because the kids wanted to do it, and so it's a little crowded. Absolutely. You know, I have a colleague in the 4th Council District who says, you know, a tired kid is a good kid, and being a parent myself and a grandparent, I know that's the case. And our parks are so important. One of the things that we are trying to do is restore the maintenance, as particularly because that's got to be fixed up. But most importantly, we've got to make sure the parks are safe. Unfortunately, because the proportional cuts that the mayor did, we lost a lot of our park rangers. So when families want to use the parks later in the evening, because the parks are open until 10, some of them can't do that because the parks aren't safe. So I get back to safety as a key ingredient to making sure our young people have those opportunities and access.
Thank you. Vice Mayor Garcia.
I think that opening up park space, particularly in areas that don't have any, is one of the main things that we should be focused on. We've done a pretty good job over the last few years. That we've opened up some 25 new parks. In the district I represent, we've opened up 9 new parks just in the last 5 years, which has been great. And part of that, of the opening up of parks, of course, is ensuring that we have the services and that we have programs. And one program that got put in place 3 years ago, which I think is one of the best things that's happened in the last few years, is the Summer Night Lights program. And there's a lot of people that were involved in putting that together. And this essentially took parks throughout, particularly in central Long Beach and in North Long Beach and downtown, and activated them at night throughout the summer with a lot of activity. That program was something that we're going to continue. We're going to expand that to more parks throughout the city. And I think it's important that those types of programs are there. The reality is that young people need something to do. And the more skate parks, the more places where people can ride their bikes, the more soccer fields, the better it is for Long Beach.
Mr. Campbell.
Alrighty. Back when I was skating, they had the old Cadillacs, weighed about 8 pounds, about 3 feet long. But, well, one thing we could do is, instead of basically putting little metal clips and hoops and interfering with our skaters, perhaps we could put up city-approved obstacles throughout town that are in areas where if they're out skating along, they can have the sanctioned use of it for, say, about 15, 20 minutes, and not huge crowds, and get on down your way, and they'll know that there's 3 or 4 somewhere else along the way. That's one way to get them skating, getting some exercise, and if they knew that there was a bit of a challenge course out there for them, that the city is approving of in areas, you know, there could be 1 or 2 right out in the middle of Bixby Park there, where they can be cruising along on their way to the skate park, and it could just be a flat piece of concrete, or it could be a rail next to a piece of lawn. And there you go, you know, this sort of set a new standard with the kids. We encourage you getting exercise. We'd recommend more of you wear helmets.
Thank you.
Mr. Otto.
Do I still have a minute and a half?
A minute.
1 minute. Okay. Well, this is a big question to answer in a minute, so let me say 2 general things. One, I think we can't put aside enough land for parks and estuaries and things like that to make a difference. We need to learn to live with nature in a way that's different from the way that we've done before. The second thing I want to say is that we need to talk about where parks are. On the east side of Long Beach, it's 16 acres per 1,000. The national standard is 10. On the west side, it's 1 per 1,000. If you look at the social fabric yard study, they would add 350 acres, almost the same size as Central Park, by doing 4 specific things that I don't have time to talk about. But it's a great plan. It would be on the west side, where it's so underparked that we need to focus on those areas first.
Thank you very much. Representative Lee.
Thank you. When I was on the council, I added about 30 acres of parks to that very dense area you just referred to. I added 2 skateboard parks, in part because I partnered with one of the business districts, and I think that is one of the solutions to look at, is to have those partners in the community that really do want to see kids have a place to go. I think we need to consider solar lighting to keep the cost of energy down and make sure those lights stay on late. I think we need to bring back midnight basketball. I also think we do need those park rangers in the downtown area that we brought in back in the 2000s and that were lost. And last but not least, I think it's important that we develop a volunteer recruitment program. It can't all be done with staff. I think we need volunteers to be involved, and we can develop a great database of volunteers for our parks.
Thank you very much. Again, we're going to have 1 minute to answer this question. I'd like to go back